Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, I'm going to be ranking the best shooting guards in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM here on this tier list. But before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 25,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day. Tons of consistent daily MyTEAM content, and I would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. Let's start off with the first player on this list, which is going to be Pink Diamond Clay. Pink Diamond Clay is good. I would say he's not top tier anymore. His shot creation is not at that elite level, and defensively he's good, but also not next level great anymore. I just don't think he's all that extraordinary of a card. Good option, sure, but I think B tier is fair. I would also put, like, honestly, I think you could argue both these guys in C, but I don't know. I will see how this list goes. Like Anthony Edwards, he has great SIGs, and he's super athletic, and he is a capable defender. This card would be a lot better if he could play the point guard position, and he would also be a lot better if he had a better catch and shoot or a standstill release. His release is not that good, and that holds him back a lot. I would put Ben Mather in A tier. I don't think his shot creation is good enough for him to be S tier. Defensively, he's very good. He's super athletic, and he's got a nice release. But as a whole, I don't think the shot creation is quite where it needs to be S tier, but I would say he is definitely an A tier guy. Britt Berry, bad release. He is super athletic, and he's got great shooting badges, but defensively, he's not extraordinary, and he's also not a great shot creator. Combine that with a bad release, you don't have a very good card. I think Chris Mullin is probably as good as Clay. I would say he's a better shooter, slightly similar defensively. I mean, I don't know. I don't hate this Mullin card, but I don't love him either. I think B tier is probably fair. I think he's honestly maybe almost C. Like, he's not bad, but he's not extraordinary at all. He's kind of a mediocre card. David Thompson is 6'4" at the shooting guard position. He also does have a good release. I will say that. That's the wrong David. But I don't think this Pink Diamond David Thompson, I know he's a brand new card, but I don't think he's very good despite that brand newness. Admittedly, defensively, he's pretty good. He's very fast, and he is a good finisher, but the shooting badges could use some work. The release, admittedly, is nice, but undersized. I just don't think he's that good. DeMar DeRozan is really mediocre. In fact, I think you could honestly put him D tier, and I wouldn't totally argue with it. In fact, I think I'm going to, actually. As much as that might sound interesting, I don't like this DeMar card at all. I think he sucks. I think he's one of the worst 5 or 6 guys in this list. That's a D tier card. Drazen Petrovic, probably the worst card in this list. His SIGs suck, his release sucks, and his stats and badges aren't very good either. He is a sucky card. Not good in my team at all is Drazen Petrovic. Gerald Wallace is our first S tier card. I think he's a top 3 or so small forward in the game, or shooting guard in the game. Really good card. Elite level defender, one of the best, if not probably the best defensive shooting guard in the game, period. Amazing athlete as well, though, with a release on very quick, really good release. Just not great half-court SIGs is really his only flaw. At the same time, I think he's so good defensively and so good athletically that he's still an S-tier card 100% because of how good he is in those areas. Gordon Hayward, really nice top-tier B-type guy, like really nice release, athletic. I will say I think Mullin has to go move down because of his lack of athleticism, but Hayward's not bad. He was actually pretty athletic. He's got a nice release. He's got off-limitless. Playmaking is okay. Could use some badges there. Defensively also okay. Could use some badges there. But don't hate the card. He's not horrible. I think B tier is fair. Grant Hill is S tier. He's a top 4 shooting guard in the game at very worst. Definitely a top tier guy. I mean, amazing card. 6'8". Pretty much has every single important badge in the game. Kyrie dribble style, release on very quick. Really good card. Definitely S tier. I think Jason Richardson is like low A or high B because honestly his release is pretty mediocre, but his stats and badges are actually pretty good. He is a very good athlete and he had decent-ish SIGs, but at the same time I still think you probably got to go high B for him. In all honesty, at this point in the game, I feel like we're going to get to some pretty good shooting guards that are going to have to go over him still. Jaylen Brown does crack the S tier, but at the very back, I think he's probably the 5th best guy in S tier. At the same time, he's a really good card. His standstill release, I will admit, is not extraordinary, but he's got an elite fade. He moves really well. He's in a great slasher. He's a really good card in a lot of ways. There are a couple things he's not incredible in, and mainly that release is probably the one issue that he really has. But as a whole, he's a really good card, and I think he does a lot of things, again, very well at the shooting guard position. But I do wish the release was a little bit better because everything else is truly great. The 99 stand dunk especially is really nice, and that's something that people don't talk about much. So that's a huge feature. I would say Jerry Sloan is pretty mediocre. Release is really bad. He's good defensively, but his release is pretty bad, and I think he needs a lot of badges to be good. At this point, the thing about Jerry Sloan is, as good as he is in some areas, he's got great shooting badges, and defensively he's awesome. He's missing a lot of key playmaking badges, missing a lot of slashing, and he's certainly not nearly as good of a card as he was a couple seasons ago when he first came out. At this point, very mediocre option. I think probably would have to go B or C at best. Jerry Stackhouse is probably B. I'm going to go Jerry Sloan and C without the badges anyway. I think C is fair. Stackhouse is good. I actually kind of like the stack card. I think he's pretty solid, but I don't think he's like great. He's only 6'4", so he doesn't have extraordinary, or 6'6", I should say. He's got good shooting, playmaking, and defensive bad. His 94 speed, 94 3 ball, really good shooting bad. Is great playmaker, solid enough defender, but not a great defender. That's probably his biggest flaw. Release is decent, but it's on normal. His signals aren't great. Like, if he had better animations, he'd be A, but without great animations, I think B is fair. Jimmy Butler also goes B. Great defender, good slasher. Shooting wise, it does leave a little bit to be desired. He was a good level 40 for his time, but he's definitely a bit outdated at this point. In fact, I would almost say C for Jimmy Butler. Like B feels a little high there, to be honest, with the way his release is. I'll go A for Dr. J. Really nice card in a lot of ways. Really good release, super athletic. Missing a couple key badges that could take him from A to S legitimately, but a lot to like about the card still. Definitely A. Kawhi Leonard also goes A. He doesn't quite get the S tier nod either, but he is also an absolutely amazing card. I think he does a ton of things really, really well and can kind of do everything you need at the spot at a very, very high level at the shooting guard spot. He's not the greatest shot creator in the world, I guess, but I'm a big, big fan of what Kawhi gives you on the court. Chris Middleton also goes A, mainly because he's got the tray fade, but also because he's a versatile, capable defender. He's got pretty good sigs all the way around, and he's got a nice release. Well, the release isn't amazing. I'll say the release is pretty mediocre, but as a whole, he's a really, really nice card. A tier, I'd say, is pretty fair, especially with that tray fade. I think that tray fade's like a nice little cherry on top. So Kobe goes S. Both Kobe's go S. I'm including both Kobe's because one of them is gambling only and one of them isn't, but I still think both of them are S, and they're probably still the two best shooting guards in the game, especially if you have the Pink Diamond Kobe upgraded. He is just unbelievably good. Kobe is so good this year. So easily S tier for me. Kyle Korver, mediocre as all get out. Not great defensively. Can't shot create barely at all. Shooting wise, he's incredible, but he's not an elite level slasher at all either. I think he's really mediocre. I am lower on this card than most. I think C is actually pretty fair. Lou Hudson, not bad. Good card. I think high B. I actually liked his release. I think defensively he's pretty good. I think he's a solid option. I think B is totally fair. I'm not sure he's incredible, but he's a pretty good option. I would put Manu in S, or I'm sorry, in A. I think Manu's pretty good. I think Manu could be better, but I think he's pretty good. I think people are tripping on how bad his release is. People think his release sucks. It does not. He's very athletic. He's a great shooter, really good playmaker, and a very capable defender. Has anchor, has decent size. Like, he's a pretty good card. I think A tier is fair. People are sleeping on how good that card is. I'm going to move Brent Berry down because his release is awful. I think Strus has a pretty good release, and he's not a bad defender. He's a good 3 and D. I'll give him B tier. I think that's pretty fair. I wouldn't quite go A or anything, but not a bad card. Finley's release sucks, and he's not good defensively. I think he's probably D, to be honest. He's not great offensively because of the bad release, and defensively he's not great either. Michael Redd, speaking of not great offensively or defensively, he and Drazen Petrovic are probably the two worst cards on this list. This red card stinks. He's probably not quite as bad as Petrovic, but he's bad, and he doesn't do anything on the court particularly great. Paul George goes A, just like Kawhi. I think really good card. Great shooter, great slasher, great defender. Not an insane playmaker, but capable enough. Pretty complete card. Still can play at a competitive level 100%. Really good option. Ray Allen, another A tier guy. Not quite S, but he's really good. He's got great stats and badges. I just think the S tier guys are kind of a little bit of a step above. You could make an argument for him S tier, I guess, as like the 6th guy. But, you know what? I'm going to put him S tier. No, I'm not. I'm not. Because I like Scottie Pippen better than Ray Allen. And I'm not tripping on that, I don't think. I'm putting Scottie Pippen S tier instead as a final S tier guy, a 6th guy. I think Pippen at 6'8" instead of Ray Allen at 6'5". Much better defender, much better size. Honestly, I like his release better as well, even though Ray has better shooting stats and badges. Slashing-wise, I would say they're pretty similar. And then defensively, I do give the edge to Scottie. I also really like Scottie's fade. Ray has the same fade. But still, like, Scottie, I think his size, his defense, and I love the release. For me, I think that's an S tier guy. I love this Scottie card. I think he's so good. T-Mac is so mid, in all honesty. I'm not a big fan of T-Mac. I think, in all honesty, that Anthony Edwards, because of the release, has to go down to tier 2, but it's just T-Mac, like, his release is okay. He's got great shooting badges. He's very athletic, and defensively he's not horrible, but his shot creation is so mediocre. He's just such a disappointing card. I'm probably back of B. I'm being a little harsh, but I just still not that high on him. Vince is going to be our final A tier guy. I know the A tier is a little expansive, but I definitely think Vince deserves to be A. I wouldn't want to put him down in B. Really complete stats and badges, Hoff Limitless, great slasher, really capable defender, decent sigs as well. Not a bad card at all. I think A is pretty fair, but wouldn't go any higher than that at this point. And then finally, Wesley Person is solidly like smack dab in the middle of B tier, I'd say. He's fine. He's got a good release. He's okay as a slasher. He's solid enough, but not great defensively. Like, he's a fine card. He's not bad, but he's certainly not great. He's a pretty good reward, and I think B tier is totally fair. So that is going to cap off my shooting guards tier list right now here in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM. Let me know what y'all think of my list in the comment section down below, and if you did enjoy the video, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.